Welcome back to the Sandy Trail. We are in the middle of episode 8 of season 1 of the show called Sanditon. If you don't know or don't know me, we are almost to the end of the season 1 finale episode, so keep an eye out for the last video after this, and we will wrap up season 1 basically. I hope you've been enjoying these reviews. I've been enjoying it myself, looking back to season 1 and talking about it with you. Any comments, as usual, comment down below, or you can tweet me. I am on Twitter. That information is in the description below. Sorry for the ambulance if you hear that. There is a playlist on my channel though, so if you miss any episodes, there is a playlist called Sandy Trail Season 1 on my channel homepage. There will be another playlist for season 2 sometime in November. I know there are separate fandoms within the show fan base. One that only supports season 1, another one that only supports season 2, some that support both seasons, myself. But I understand that people have different opinions and perspectives, but please keep in mind, my channel is a safe space and I am not wasting my time for any negative comment toward other fans and the show. So, there's that. Let's continue episode 8 of season 1. We're gonna finish up the ball scenes and we will talk about some scene about after the ball, the day after the ball. So, there's still more to come.
Esther! I have been such a fool, Esther. That little vixen Clara took advantage of me. I must have been mad. Tell me that you love me, as I still love you.
You don't know the meaning of this.
Thanks to the writers and Edward interrupted the private moment on the balcony between Sydney and Charlotte. I thought it would have been a very sweet proposal scene, but Edward interrupted everyone at the ball. Esther was enjoying her time with Lord Badminton and the other guests at the ball when Edward arrived. Not only was he talking out loud where everyone can hear, he was getting attention from everyone, and everyone started to learn what did actually happen between Edward and Esther. A total embarrassment, not only for Edward himself, but for Esther and Lady Denham. Lady Denham looking over what is going on between my niece and nephew. Esther doesn't want to go back. She doesn't want to go back to her past. She doesn't want to go back with Edward. Her heart was already broken and it's in the middle of being mended, and having Edward storm into the ball like that, it's opened up those bad feelings again that Esther had toward Edward, and she already started to move on with Lord Badminton, and it's just one of those scenarios where your past is bottled up and now it's open again, and it's something that you don't want to go through again. Esther made a good point. You don't know what love is, and that's her conclusion after what happened between her and Edward. I loved you, but you never loved me back, so now you're asking for my love, and that's not true love. And she understands how Edward was toward her and why he acted toward her like that. He never truly loved her. And now him saying, if you love me, I love you. It's kind of a bargain type of relationship. And Esther is not interested in that. She's more interested in actually being in a real relationship with really honest love. And she is finding that a bit more with Lord Badminton.
It's just me, Dad. You should leave. You love me. You should leave. You love me, Esther. You should leave. Only if she tells me to. Esther.
I love Lord Badminton trying to protect Esther, and he doesn't want to make this drama bigger than it is and trying to kick Edward out because Esther is already embarrassed and broken again, and this is gonna stir up her emotion again, and you are in public, right? Like, everyone gonna know your story. Well, everyone already know the story now. Esther literally told him the last word ever, hopefully, and what she said to him, like, basically, like, we done, we never going back, like, we never ever getting back together, like the song by Taylor Swift. Sorry, random thought. But Esther is already done with Edward. It's too late for Edward to make it right with Esther. Also, Lord Babington, like, you know, I don't blame him. You don't want any other guy to kidnap your girl.
Take your part.
I might be analyzing or reading it wrong, but when Esther walked up to her aunt, Lady Denham, I thought she was waiting for her aunt to give her the permission to leave the room so she can recover herself from this situation. Esther is embarrassed in front of her aunt too. Like, you know, who would hit a sibling? It's not normal, and it's just a really bad gossip story that it is true, but people are gonna start talking about it, especially the day after the ball.
Poor girl. Do not judge her too harshly.
I don't judge her at all.
Lady Denham, she seemed to have compassion toward Esther. What she said to Mrs. Griffith is like she understood why Esther went through that, and I was thinking of like the earlier conversation when Lady Denham told Esther about that man that she fell for, but that man married someone else with more money. So it's like they already have that foundation built between Esther and Lady Denham, like they understood each other when it comes to love and relationship. And of course she wants the best for her niece, Esther, to find true happiness.
Well, Babington, now you know the truth. Are you not disgusted? Afraid you'll be tainted by my disgrace.
I don't give a damn what anyone else thinks.
In the first 10 seconds of the scene, like right before the scene, if you remember, Charlotte was actually comforting Esther, and Lord Babington told Charlotte that Sidney sent his apology because he was working on making sure that Edward is safely kicked out of Sanditon, and Charlotte didn't mind. So that was very thoughtful of Sidney to send his apology to Lord Babington. But anyway, this scene is a game changer for Esther and Lord Babington. This is the moment of where Esther is actually 100% honest to Lord Babington about her past with Edward. And of course, she's still embarrassed and humiliated, and she's like, I'm gonna lose my chance with Lord Babington. Like, is he still gonna want me?
My dear girl, don't you know that I'm in love with you?
And what is that to me, since I do not love you?
I don't care. It's enough that you like me and that you trust me.
Lord Babington really wants Esther to be his wife. Love has many qualities, right? And I was thinking like how love is patient, and he's willing to be patient with her and help her in the midst of her hurt and her brokenness from Edward and her past in general. He's willing to help her recover from that and to be herself again. He's not forcing her to like forget about it. Like, he is allowing her, giving her the space to go through the emotion of what just happened, while he stands by her side as support. And she's like, I don't love you. And Lord Babington, like, I would have been like hurt if someone said that to me, but it just shows that Esther is very careful with her heart right now. She's still at the stage in her life where she's just afraid to open her heart completely to someone else other than Edward, and she has this guy right now standing in front of her, and she's like, she noticed that Lord Babington is a good guy, and she just doesn't believe it.
I do not wish to be your property.
Good. Because I have no wish to own you.
Why else would you have me as your wife?
While Esther is trying to push Lord Babington away, he's still fighting for her. He's like, we like each other. We seem to get along with each other. I love you. Like Lady Denham said, like, isn't it better to be loved than to love someone? Because when you are loved by someone, you already have that someone actually loving you. Like, you know for sure that they are committed to you, instead of loving someone and they don't love you back, in the case of Edward and Esther. So Esther has this wonderful guy in Lord Babington that already love her, and she trying to push him away, and she's like, I'm not giving up on you, I'm not giving up on us. And Esther is opening up a little bit more of her feelings toward him. She's like, I don't want to be your property. And that reminded me of the earlier episode at Lady Denham lunch party in honor of Miss Lamb, and Georgiana explained her perspective on marriage, on how she doesn't want to be owned by a man, like she's not in a hurry to get married. So that idea of women being a property is like becoming one of the main themes of season 1 of this show, and it just shows how broken Esther is. Like, she doesn't want to be held in a cage anymore. Like, she wants to be free, and she wants to be free by herself. But is she willing to be free with Lord Babington? Because Lord Babington is not gonna force her into activity or try to control her in any way, shape, or form. He's willing to let her be herself and be the leader and the woman of the relationship. Like, he's still the man. Like, man usually is the leader, the head of the household, but he gonna allow Esther to be in control of the relationship, like, from her side, if that makes sense. Like, equality, basically. That's what Lord Babington believes in the relationship. Equal opportunity, equal contribution, equal feeling. So there's no more or less of the two sides. He loves her honestly, and I think she's afraid to take that as truth.
Because I want to make you happy. I could never try to lead or constrain you, Esther. All I ask is to walk through life by your side.
And he wants to make her happy. That's like literally the general reason why he's chasing after Esther. And I really like how he is chasing after her. It's better when the guy chases the woman, right? Not the other way around, with Esther there. Like, Esther tried to chase after Edward. It did not work out. He tried to make it right too late at that ball. So it's really nice that Lord Babington is chasing after her, want to make her happy. And Esther, like, is he really a good guy? Like, this guy is way better than Edward. Like, do I deserve this unconditional love from Lord Babington? Like, do I deserve that second chance at love?
Very well, then.
You accept me?
Stop talking before I change my mind.
And Esther agreed. She agreed to marry him, right? It's just a proposal. But good for her. She kissed him. So that's definitely an answer of yes from her to him. And he seemed a little bit surprised at the kiss. But I'm pretty sure that they're both happy, and that they are both happy with one another. So good for them. The journey has been long for Esther, from episode 1 to episode 8, right? Like, she went through a lot in her love life, especially with Edward, and Lord Babington came into the picture, and he was something that she was not expecting in a good way. And it's really nice that it turned out to be good at the end of episode 8.
I'm so sorry. No one knew he was there until it was too late.
Well, you told him to leave. But he insisted on staying.
In between the conversation of James and Charlotte at the ball when they were dancing with each other, I cut out the part where his dad was getting into another accident. Unfortunately, his dad died in the fire during the ball. It could have been avoided, but unfortunately that tragedy happened. Now Charlotte is showing up at the Stringer house in support before the funeral service.
Why'd you have to be so stubborn?
Because that's who he was. That's what you loved him for.
I should have stayed.
Charlotte is a good friend. She trying to comfort him. James had a really bad conversation with his dad on the night of the ball. His dad did not support James' dream. He did not support James going to London to go after that opportunity in London. Basically, he tried to keep James in Sanditon, basically keep him in hostage and to control his future in a way. But James was very brave and confident, and he knew what he wanted in life. He knew what he wanted to do, and he's not letting anyone or anything to keep him from going to London.
The last words I spoke to him were in anger. We parted on a quarrel, Charlotte.
It's one of those cases where life is short, right? And sometimes people die after you had a bad conversation with them before they die. And this is one of those scenarios. And James, like, the way I left him, the way I ended the conversation with my dad, it was horrible. It was abrupt. They didn't make amends. They didn't really talk it out or try to understand each other. Well, mostly on his father's side. His father's side was stubborn. He was stubborn, and he didn't really want to listen to James, and he thought that he knew better than James, and James like had no clue what he wanted to do. But in all honesty, James knew what he wanted to do. It's his passion, and sometimes parents don't support the child's dream, and it sucks. And that's another thing. Like, his father never supported him going to London. So now, is he gonna stay in Sanditon, or is he gonna still go to London?
Despicable man.
Lady Denham.
I'm very sorry for you, Mrs. Parker, but some things can never be forgiven.
Lady Denham, if you pursue the debt now, you may be robbing yourself. We can rebuild the terrace bigger and better than before.
Give us a week's grace, at least.
Lady Denham comes into the picture. If you watch the episode before, the house that the fire burned down was not insured, so no insurance, so Tom had to pay out of pocket to rebuild again. And Lady Denham, like, thinking, like, you know, the Parker family are crazy, like, they didn't think of getting enough money to put the insurance on the building, and now Tom had no money left to recover that building. So Lady Denham, like, why do I need to trust you and give you more money just to fix this situation? Like, she basically leaving them in the ditch.
I'll be as quick as humanly possible, but I have to do everything I can to help the family. How I manage that, I have no idea.
I believe you will.
And when I return, we'll finally have a chance to finish our conversation.
Charlotte is being a supportive girlfriend, allowing Sydney to go to London to help his family with the financial issue that's going on after that fire. Again, it's really tough though. I'm pretty sure that Charlotte rather have Sydney stay in Sanditon, but she knows why he's leaving, and for a good reason.
I'll be back in a week.
the way that Charlotte followed behind Harris for a bit showed that she is looking forward to the time when Sydney come back home, safe and sound. Of course, she doesn't like him being away for a week, right? I mean, they never finished that conversation. Like, is he still gonna feel the same way after he come back home? Like, hopefully nothing bad happens on his journey. Sydney, of course, is thinking about his lover, Charlotte, the way that he just like had that deep thinking facial expression inside Harris. Of course, he doesn't like to be away from Charlotte for a long time. I mean, a week is a long time in my book. So hopefully we get good news from London, from Sydney, when he come back home about the financial issue of that building. Again, you know, I wish that we saw a proposal scene on that balcony, but I blame it all on Edward.
Dearest sister, it has been a week since Sydney left for London in his attempt to save Sanditon. There is nothing but trepidation in the Parker family.
I love when shows do voiceover because you can sense their emotion and what they thinking, what they're writing out loud, like they talking the words in the letter, like in the scene, like she writing a letter, but we get to hear what she actually writing, in addition to understanding her emotion, her feelings as she writes that letter to her sister.
Tom in particular has been consumed with worry as he awaits news. Oh, Alison, it is possible that my future too could rest on Sydney's swift return. I wish I could tell you more.
You can sense the tense in the room when she described how Tom is feeling, how everyone is feeling, and you can see what everyone is doing. Like Diana Parker, the sister name, she playing with cards just to occupy herself, to get her mind off of the arrival of Sydney and, you know, waiting for the news from London. So everyone is waiting with anticipation and tense, like anxious, like, okay, hopefully Sydney arrives home really soon.
But it may be that very soon I will have the most exciting news to share.
He's here!
Also, Charlotte mentioned about her future, and if you were Alison, right, reading that letter, Alison probably be like, oh my goodness, does that mean an engagement? Like, what's going on? My question though, like, well, I assume that Alison is already know maybe a little bit about Sydney. Like, as sisters, you tell each other everything, right? Including your secret. I don't have a sister, but anyway, I'm wondering if Alison knows about Sydney. So, with Charlotte talking about her future and how her future depends on Sydney, that sounds really serious. And hopefully Sydney come home with good news and that they will continue to have that talk about the future together.